welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. I hope you're all doing really well and 2025 is going well for you so far. We're a couple of weeks in now, hope we're getting there. Today I wanted to pull together another slow cooker recipes video because my last one was quite popular and I feel like a lot of us just need meal times to be a lot simpler with the chaos of having kids in the house. We still want to give our kids and like our families really nice meals, but sometimes it's just a lot to have to cook at like 4 or 5 p.m. when you've got 2 hangry kids at your ankles. Like, trust me, it's chaos for most of us. And I know that I'm preaching to the choir there, so a slow cooker comes in so handy. Just shove it all in the morning and then it's done by 5 p.m. and you've got a delicious meal. But I know often finding inspiration for like healthy, affordable, like really nice meals can be quite tricky. So I thought I'd pull together a little video where I have about 6 or maybe even 7 recipes in here so that you could just refer to this video if you want to. I have my other video as well, which I did just before Christmas, so I'm going to pop that in the description. So across both the videos, you'll have about 10 to 12 different recipes that you can pull from and then go and get all the ingredients on your weekly shop and make a few meal times just that tad bit easier. So with all that said, let's jump into it. I have to say though, the first one is my favorite. Enjoy.
First up, we've got the viral TikTok Birria tacos. These were incredible. Like, honestly, 10 out of 10, absolutely no notes, and they're really easy to make. I started off with a white onion chopped up roughly and then the equivalent of 4 vine tomatoes. I just used cherry tomatoes because I had them in the cupboard. Then I added 4 whole cloves of garlic, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and then also 1 teaspoon of oregano. Although I did it by eye, so there's probably more in there. I also added 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, along with 4 tablespoons of chipotle paste, or 100 grams, I think is the equivalent. I just shoved a load in. Tomato puree, 1 tablespoon of that, and then a cinnamon stick as well for flavour. I added some beef stock, so I did 350 ml of water and a stock cube as well. At this point, if you wanted to add your chilies or your chili flakes, you could do so, but I didn't because the kids were having this. So I went in with my meat of choice, which today was pork shoulder, just because it's very affordable and it goes really nicely in the slow cooker. It all pulls apart, so this is like pulled pork birria tacos, but you could also do this with chicken or turkey or beef or lamb. Honestly, they all taste amazing, but the pork is very affordable, so I like to do that. Once it's been cooking for 6 to 8 hours on slow, I take the pork out and then just like pull it apart, basically, literally just mash it up and it falls apart, and then put the meat back into the slow cooker and let that cook a little bit more. This was my first time ever tasting it, and oh my gosh, I was shook.
Wow, that is so good.
Honestly, even watching this video back is making me really want these tacos again. While the meat was back in the slow cooker for like an hour, I decided to make my pickled onions, which is my favourite thing to go with anything like this. It's red onions with lime juice and then a sprinkle of sugar and a little bit of salt if you want to as well. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I forget, but that is such a nice little pickle and this goes so nicely with the birria tacos. Then all you do is dip in some of the wraps that you're going to use for the tacos into the sauce and then fry them in the frying pan, topped with all your toppings. I did my red onion pickle, cheddar cheese and a little bit of coriander as well, and I just folded them up and let them cook on each side for like, I don't know, maybe tops 5 minutes. Then you just repeat the process over and over until you have the desired amount of tacos. And I promise you, this was delicious. This is probably my favourite homemade meal I've ever made. It is utterly amazing. I would genuinely pay top dollar for this in like a restaurant. I don't know if people would buy it, but I definitely would. And I just served it with some sour cream along with the remaining sauce and meat like in a little bowl, and I just dipped it in there. I also did a little bit of smashed up avocado with lime and it was just divine. Honestly, I loved this. I ended up eating mine after the kids had gone to sleep and before my husband got back from work because he was working late. He had his with wedges, but I just had it on its own. Honestly, this was the most delicious meal ever. I loved it. Next up, we've got one of my favorites for the kids. It's hidden veggie pasta, and you can do basically anything in this. I shoved in a load of carrots and some celery because we had that left over, some butternut squash that I had cut up in the freezer, some Mediterranean veg mix that I had in the freezer as well. Then I added some fennel, which to be honest, you could probably probably do without if you're not a fennel fan. Some rosemary, I'd say a teaspoon of both of those would be fine. Then I popped it on low for 6 hours, and then once it had all been cooked, I popped half of it into our food processor along with a tin of plum tomatoes, obviously one-handed because I had a baby in my arms at this point. I popped some water in and then I whizzed that all in together until it made a smooth sauce. Hallie didn't like the noise of the blender, so I had to rock her a little bit whilst it was going, but I tried to taste it, and to be honest, the fennel seeds were a little bit too lumpy. I should have bashed them up a little bit more, but after adding my salt and pepper, I just poured as much of that sauce into these Tupperwares as I could, and then I repeated the process again with the other half, and then popped everything that I had into these Tupperwares. I think I did it 3 times actually, and then I had loads of sauce left over. I'm going to freeze the ones in the Tupperwares and then use this batch for the pasta for tonight. I then just added some stock paste or a stock cube, whatever you have, some sugar and a little bit of butter and some parmesan in my pasta. Mixed that all in and that was ready to go. You could have added this into the slow cooker when you were doing it, but I want to keep my veggie sauce really versatile, and I might not always use it for pasta sauce. I could use it for chilies, I could use it for loads of different things. And I'll just get that veggie sauce out of the freezer whenever I want to use it, get it out the day before or maybe even on the day and just microwave it, and I can use that in basically any meal that I can possibly think of that needs a tomatoey veggie sauce. The kids both ate all of this and didn't realise they had about 10 veggies all in one go. Next up, we've got a good old veggie chili. It is honestly the easiest thing to make. I didn't really film this particularly well, but I started off with a red onion, 2 garlic cloves, a load of carrot, a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of oregano, and then a teaspoon of paprika, along with about a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, depending on how tomatoey you like it, some frozen butternut squash chunks from the freezer, along with some sliced mixed peppers from the freezer, and then 2 tins worth of kidney beans and 2 tins of chopped tomatoes, along with a splash of water for good measure. Try not to leave the tin lid in there like I did though. Add some salt and some pepper, mix it all in together. Add a teaspoon or 2 of sugar, which I forgot to do and I did later, and then pop it on high for 4 hours or low for 6 hours.
I totally forgot, I added a little bit of lime juice, and then optional for adults, the lid's just gone in there. The chipotle Cholula or just chipotle paste. Let's grab that out. Didn't mean to do that. And we've actually all started eating. I've mashed mine up loads, but we had it on top of jacket potato. George is playing with Lego in his dinner, which is a bit silly. But George is eating it. Jacket potato, chili on top with sour cream. I have guacamole on the side, and then cheese as well. The kids have got, same as me, no chipotle paste and no guacamole. Yum, yum, yum. It's 2 days later now, and I've got the leftover veggie chili here. What I'm gonna do is I think, enchiladas tonight. So I'm gonna wrap up load of the chili into these corn tortilla wraps and then smother them in creme fraiche, grated cheese, and I'll make that sauce up, and then I'm gonna sprinkle a load of cheese on top, pop some lime juice and some avocado together, and make a little bit of guacamole, and then that is gonna be our enchiladas. I'm gonna do them in the air fryer, so I'm gonna wrap those up with this, pop them in there, cover it in the sauce that I make. I'm going to Google how to do that. I'm sure there's more ingredients than this, but this is the bulk of it. And then that's going to be our dinner tonight, so I don't have to cook properly tonight, thank God. That's what I try and tend to do when I'm doing slow cooker meals, is think of things I can repurpose. Like I'll make a massive bulk of something, like a chili for example, and then reuse it in different ways. So we'll have a chili one night, like on jacket potato like we did before, and then another night we'll do it with maybe rice, or another night we'll do it with wraps. We can make burritos with these. You can make loads of different things. Yeah, tonight we're gonna have enchiladas. Happy days. There we go, all done. The kids have got quesadillas. Yummy. Oh, you want more? More?
Then we're going for a red Thai chicken curry. This is Hallie's one. You could also do this with like a korma paste or something. It's the same exact ingredients. I recently got this veggie chopper, and this is my absolute new best friend. I love this. I'll link it down below. 1 red onion and some sliced peppers go in with some chicken thigh, and then your curry paste of choice. I went for red Thai curry, but you could definitely go for korma paste or whatever you want. Then some coconut milk, some oil and some sugar, along with a teaspoon of chopped garlic and teaspoon of chopped ginger. Then I just gave that a good mix and then added in my chicken stock. I did a chicken stock cube and then added the water on top. I'll put the exact measurements down in the description box, but to be honest, I usually just freehand this. This went on low for 6 hours, and then this was Hallie's curry. For some reason I don't have a video of mine, but we just had it with rice. Next up we've got Marry Me sausage pie. This is one of my all-time favourites. Sausage meat is such a good one because it's actually really affordable, and this was so good. Who knew you could do pie in the slow cooker? I thought this was such a brilliant idea when I saw it. So I just cooked up some sausages in the air fryer and then cut them up into 4s. There's about 8 here. Then I'm going to do 2 white onions and pop that in my lovely new chopper. Pop that in the slow cooker along with some sun-dried tomatoes and then some frozen spinach, but you can use fresh spinach if you've already got that. Some lazy garlic and some Italian herbs along with some paprika. I probably overdid it there, to be honest. But then I added my stock, which was a chicken stock cube and water, and then added some creme fraiche, a good few dollops of that, and then I stirred that all together and then mixed in some of my corn flour as well to thicken it up. It's always important to mix in corn flour with some water before you add it to your meal, just so that it doesn't go all lumpy and stuff in there. But then once that goes on, it goes on for 6 hours on low, as you probably guessed, and then once it's all cooked through, this is what it'll kind of look like. It'll be nice and thick. I add in a little bit of grana padano or parmesan or whatever you've got. I just love this. This is optional though. Mix that all in, and then I'm actually separating half and half of this because I made 2 batches basically. So half of that's going to go into the freezer for another day, and then the other half is going to be the base of my pie along with this puff pastry. I'm literally just going to cut off a lid for this pie basically and fit it around the insert of the slow cooker. Whisk an egg together and then use that as an egg wash over my pie lid, and then pop it into the oven for 20 minutes on 180 just so the puff pastry cooks. And then I'm going to have my leftover puff pastry and smother that in Nutella, wrap it up in swirls as a way of not wasting this perfectly good puff pastry. I'm going to roll those all up into swirls and then pop these in the air fryer with an egg wash on as well, and these are just going to be really nice little Nutella puff pastry swirls. I didn't actually take a video of these when they were finished, but I can assure you they were delicious and scoffed immediately. Once the puff pastry lid had been cooked, I just literally got out that slow cooker insert from the oven and then served up my pie. Oh my goodness, this meal is just so jam-packed full of flavour. I absolutely love it, and it's actually given me some inspiration to do other pie kind of meals in the slow cooker. Instead of like a casserole, you can just add this puff pastry lid and it changes it up completely. I served it with some tender stem broccoli and it was just so delicious. And then finally we've got this creamy garlic chicken, which actually would work really, really nicely as a pie as well if you wanted to do that, but I actually served it with jack potato instead. I just started off by browning the chicken thighs in a pan. You don't have to do this, but I chose to do this on this occasion. Added some salt and pepper to that just to give it a flavour, and then obviously did my favourite thing, which is chopping up my veg, which was 1 white onion and then a load of mushrooms in my favourite new gadget. I will link this down below. Like I said, it's honestly my best thing ever. A load of garlic. I probably overdid it a bit, but wow, I love garlic. Some white wine vinegar, some Worcester sauce, and then some Dijon mustard as well. I did like a big teaspoon of that, and then I also used 2 stock cubes, 1 beef and 1 chicken, added those straight in along with the boiling water just to make up the sauce for that. Mixed that all in together, added a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then I also mixed in some creme fraiche, a good few dollops of this. I'll link the exact recipe down below. Once I'd given that a good mix, I then added my browned chicken into the sauce and just made sure that that was all separated and all submerged in the sauce like that, and then covered it up, and you guessed it, popped it on low for 6 hours. I then added in some corn flour mixed in with water just to thicken up the sauce because it was still quite liquidy, and then served it up with a jack potato that I did in the air fryer along with some tender stem broccoli, and that was it. So delicious and so easy. And there we go, those are some of the slow cooker recipes that I've been using recently. I'm not gonna lie to you, those birria tacos are hands down my favourite. Like, if you are gonna make any of these, make that one. Although sometimes it is just nice to have a meal that you shove in and then you shove out, and like you don't have to faff around with doing anything afterwards. You don't have to put it in the oven, you don't have to fry anything. It's literally just dump it all in. I do really like those ones for the busy days. I really hope you enjoyed this video and it makes your weekly shop a little bit simple because you know exactly the ingredients you need to get. Hopefully it makes your evenings less stressful because you're not trying to cook around the kids and you actually get to spend a little bit of time with them. And if you're like busy at work and then you just need a meal as soon as you get back, or when you pick the kids up from school or whatever it might be, hopefully this will help you a little bit. And if you like this video, please let me know down in the comments and like the video so that I know to carry on making these kinds of videos. I was thinking maybe I could do these like once every month or once every 2 months, just to help with a little bit of inspiration. And they don't always have to be slow cooker ones. Maybe when it comes to the summer month, maybe some air fryer recipes, whatever it might be. But for now guys, I'm gonna love you and leave you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.
You glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free. oh my sweet baby.